Oh, and we're live on the Red Pill News. What do I have? What reasons do I have to be so happy about? I don't know. I got good news today, but I just saw also the biggest goddamn spider I've ever seen in my whole friggin' life outside, man, like in my little porch area. That boogied when it saw me, which is good, but I don't want that thing inside my house. I don't need that. You know something? I like let nature live and let it go do its business. Go do your nature business, but just don't do it around here. If they come inside your place, it's a death sentence. That's pretty much what it is, man. But this thing was like freaking the size of my hand. Ah, the hell, you know? I used to live on Long Island. It wasn't safe people wise, but creature, unless you go in the water, you know, man. There's a lot of people that'll tell you. You may have not have heard this before. It might be a surprise to you, but there are sharks in the ocean. Ooh, sometimes there's sharks in freshwater. Those bullhead sharks, man, can swim all the way up fresh water and live and survive and thrive. They think one day that the Great Lakes are going to have these sharks. They're man eaters, and woman eaters. Let's not be gender specific when it comes to shark therapy. Last week we talked about, multiple shark attacks on Long Island, and there's more. At least there's no deaths. So look at the good side. They kind of take a little nibble and they kind of move away. Maybe it's a love kiss or something. Maybe something like that. I don't know. So the reality is, I don't care. And if you pair that with the other reality of I really don't care, because I'm not the one flaunting my booty in the water waiting for a shark to come get me. It's the ocean. You know what's in the ocean? Killer whales, other types of whales, the sludge balls, big things like that that attack you, hospital waste, you know, Navy ships, anything, man, is in or on the ocean. So if you go in there, it's a gamble. You know what I mean? You're taking a gamble. I know someone went in there, but boom, they got a jellyfish wrapped around their foot. Oh yeah, that's it's a very interesting scream of pain when you hear that shriek from the jellyfish, and their name's so nice, jellyfish. You know what I mean? Jelly's nice. You put jelly on your toast, and nope, not in this situation. It's one of those weird kind of opposite deals. You know what I mean? They don't call them like the death sponge, the death sponge or the death gloop. Yeah, just stay away from that. Jellyfish sounds kind of appetizing, man. But people are sick, people are weird, people are crazy, and people do what they do. Hey, you know what? Can't be afraid to live your lives, man. And you're probably way safer going in the ocean, swimming around for a while, making some noise, than you are going into New York City or Chicago or Los Angeles, any of those places. Way safer. Even safer dealing with giant spiders coming at you. Yeah. But then I just look at the president. I'm like, oh my God, are we really living this? We really living this? That dude. I feel bad for him, man. I have a heart. I'm not like those guys on Fox. I've got a heart, and my heart says, look at this old decaying dude, in decline, and he's the most powerful guy in America politically, whatever that means. Powerful to mess it up, powerless to fix it, and that kind of how it goes. And he's in his cognitive decline. I mean, this dude's done, and people around him making all kinds of excuses and backpedaling on things that he says. So I think that ultimately it shows an unbelievable streak of misplaced loyalty. It just reeks of weakness when it comes to our overall standing as a country. And we're not the only ones. I mean, in England, Boris Johnson stepped down. He finally had he finally had enough. stepping down. I was watching Prince Harry for 3 seconds, talking about talking at the UN about climate change. The guy got there on a private aircraft. You kind of think about, wow, these people talk and talk and talk, but then they themselves are the biggest perpetrators. I mean, it's always like that. It really is. That's kind of how it goes in life. So this dude, he is what he is. When he's living in the United States, he's not. He's a prince in name only. He's a Pinot, right? And he's the Duke of Sucket with his Dukas, his Malibu Barbie Tukas, Tuckus of Sucket. That they're there because of privilege. I'm gonna say it like that. But this dude to go out there and kind of align himself with the poor and minorities and trans whatever, he's not living that life. I mean, how many people does he hang out with that are poor or even economically challenged, unless they work for him as a servant? So when you hear these people and they're spouting off all of their BS about everything you should do, and you realize that what they do is really the problem. Because if they stop doing what they're doing, we really wouldn't have much of a problem at all. It's the robber barons and it's just the underlings, right? Isn't that how it goes? So that's how I see it. But then you have, American politics is just twist and turn like a freaking rattlesnake. It squidges on the ground like a giant spider. And it's not there representing the people that need the representation the most. They're boasting of gas prices now at $4.50. Gas prices have been coming down just a few cents here and there. I'll tell you this: the price per barrel went down over a month ago. So, and you see how long it takes for that price to truly start, trickling down at the pumps, because these companies make all kinds of excuses of why they need to charge more, why they need to have more money, why they can steal your money. They need to make all these excuses, right? As the price is going down. When the price goes up, they don't waste any time. The price goes up. Oh, there it is. Tick, 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 tick. 3 seconds. Those gas stations out there raise their prices. They raise their prices off the gas that they already purchased that's in the ground. So really the effectual value of that oil doesn't affect the gasoline that's already in the ground that you already purchased. Does that price go up in your gas tank? You gotta go back to the gas station and pay them some more money off of the gas you have. No, of course it's stupid. So whatever, man. I think that when you have a simple thing like gasoline, which is our main, you know, mainstay of energy, and you yourself need to go to work, you need to go do stuff, go to the store, get stuff, get this, get that. Got kids, you're running them around all over the place. Understand that you don't get extra money every month. You don't get all these raises. You don't get all these bonuses because energy prices are up. So it's a very simple thing to really cause a wave affecting people in general. And then this current administration, they make excuses for everything. I hate that. I don't make excuses for anything. I'd rather not answer you. Than make some kind of excuse. I'm looking at this feeble old dude who's trying to shake the hand with nobody there. Now maybe on a paranormal investigation that's okay. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, somebody was there. It was my old Uncle Al telling me to cross over. Cross over. Joe, it's time to cross over, Joe. You've done enough biting on the planet. You've sniffed enough people. It's time to cross over, Joe. Oh, but I still have stuff to do. No, You don't. You're not even doing it. You don't even know where you are, Joe. You know, the only thing you know is that there's a dead guy talking to you. It's time to go. Here's some COVID-19 for you, Joe. And he's got COVID-19. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. What I am saying is just between you and me. We're gonna keep this just between us. Uh, I'll go whisper in your ear like a weird, creepy old dude. What I'm saying is that the Democrats want him gone. They don't want to vote for him. They don't want him running. They definitely don't want cackling Kamala. So they're really stuck with a lot of dead weight. And I was wondering how they're going to get him out. What's the easiest way? And this guy's supposedly been protected from people and whatever. And you know, he went to see the Saudis, fist bump with that Saudi sheikh. I think they what's his name? Shake your booty. I think his name is. And then nothing got done. If you saw that guy's face, he looked Joe Biden like you know why? Like someone was paying him basically to meet with him. You know, which most likely what it was. The Saudis want to hear one thing: we're going to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. We're not going to help them in any way, shape, or form. Nothing until they have some kind of regime in charge that's more you know bent to our direction of currently globalization. Apparently, you have this government. You know that's why you know what when Trump was all with the nationalism, you saw how hard they were slamming that, right? You saw how vigorous the left was going after that individuality of a country, you know, nationalists and you know, really likening them to white supremacists and all these things. They really ran the gamut of name calling when it came to anybody who wanted to support their own country. But we need to be energy independent. Obviously, if you look around the world, you look what's going on, and a problem happens, we can close our doors and be all right with ourselves. We need to be food independent. You know, we started relying on other countries for grain and things like that. We were the big producers, but you had 8 years of Obama in there, 8 crucial years of just hammering away, closing manufacturing, getting us out of the energy business, getting us out. You know what? That was poison to this country. But Obama wanted to move towards globalization. If you hear a lot of these speeches that he gives, he talks about globalization. They want us to be the global player as a global player and rely on other countries for these things. But when things happen like war or whatever, or indifference, whatever happens, whatever calamity, you know, bad weather, whatever happens, if it affects us at home and we can't function, then we need to get rid of that and be able to operate on our own and be independent in that way. And that's the only way we're going to actually be able to help anybody else is if we have the power of independence, that we're off the grid, man. We don't have to rely on your country for oil, for grain, for nothing. You know, the whole thing in the Ukraine, you see how this energy crisis has gotten everybody in the pocket. You know, of course, the price was being driven up before the attack in February with this whole Putin thing. But this is the deal. They want you to suffer. They want you to be subservient, you know, and have your hand out and be dependent. And that's not really the American way of life, and that's not really the way of life of anybody who thinks independently, you know. So that's what they strive for, you know. And at some point, that system fails because you don't have any productivity, you know, or there's no motivation for productivity. So you know what? You have to know the players, man, and understand that okay, all of a sudden we have billions upon billions upon billions upon billions to give to the Ukraine. We shovel out of our pockets, you know, that's our hard-earned money, and they write the blank check, you know, here you can have it. Do I believe we should support the Ukraine? You know, the time for the political negotiation has come and gone, right? It should have happened a long time ago. And Zelensky should have never dug his heels in. It could have been a peaceful transition, and he could have left with his bags of cash and his private plane and been gone. But instead, he dug his heels in, and they destroyed the country. Those 2,000-year-old cities are leveled. They will never be completely rebuilt. Never be. I mean, the amount. You know what? There's no money for anything. Not even over there. Like, what do you think? They're just gonna, bat their eyes and all of a sudden have all this money available? The Russians are scraping it for troops and equipment. I mean, like, really, it's very interesting what's happening. You know, if you're a political person and you follow politics, especially of other countries, which are actually called states. And as we watch this go on, it affects the rest of the world. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? For Zelensky, is it worth it? All those dead people, women, children, families, pets, everything you think of, all their property destroyed. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? So there was a time where something like this would happen, and you would let the democracy kind of go out there and negotiate. You know what I mean, and try to find some kind of standing. With the two parties. But I think that a lot of people got gung ho. I think that a lot of people wanted to support. Russia's rolling in there. They're going to goose step in there, then goose step in all the other countries, right? Going to NATO and that type of thing. There was all this fear thrown out there, and rightfully so. You have Putin. You have world leaders that are freaking not mentally there, man. You got Putin being eaten up by cancer. You got Biden. Biden said he had cancer the other day, then they quickly corrected. Oh no, he was talking about skin cancer that he had before. He doesn't have a cancer now. Whatever, man. They do a lot of backpedaling. You know. So frustrating, man, when you start digging in, because there's a lot of stupidity and you feel like it could be avoided. You feel like that, you know, if there were thinking people, and not the people who get paid to think. Those are the worst types, man. The worst types are the ones who get paid to think because they need to justify their BS. And who says what their interpretation of something is good? Maybe it's not. If you're talking to a five-star general or a big muckety muck admiral about going to war, I think they're going to be pro-war for the most part, of course, because they're warmongers. It's what they do. It's how they produce. It's what they're trained to do. So when you take those same people and you put them in political roles, it fogs up their minds of representing people. That's really what it is. Just freaking represent people, man. Am I making this decision? Is it good for the American people? That's all you have. No matter what leader you are, you're in the UK, you're the new talk of the day. I mean, they've narrowed it down to basically two. And whatever. I think they're both puppets, and who says that they're going to go in there and do a job? But this is a very sensitive time when you have on the internet people constantly talking about Putin nuking the UK. It's a very sensitive time. Do I think it's going to happen? You know what? I think that there was a huge spider outside. I'm thinking about how I can box that thing up and ship it off to those guys. Do I think Putin? I think that his decayed state, like Biden, they're capable of everything. You have two world leaders in control with most of the nuclear weapons on the planet, both in mental and physical decay. Biden's talking about people having guns. This guy's got his finger on the nuclear button, and he's not even shaking hands with invisible people, having the bunny rabbit tell him what to do. Oh yeah, man. It would be funny if it wasn't so funny. I think that in this, as I watch it unfold, it's like you can't make this stuff up. I don't know where the Onion goes after this, man. I think that they're in deep trouble. So, uh, so then I see Bruce Springsteen, right? Born in the USA, I was. Gotta do this right. Born in the USA, I was making money in the USA. All of a sudden, people who are musicians and actors think they're political analysts and they know something, you know. And so, I mean, Bruce Springsteen, I'm not a fan of his. You know what I mean? I'm not really into that sound, and it's kind of not my thing. So, but I did sell his tickets once upon a time. You know, when I was a ticket broker in the tri-state area, and they're trying to get rid of us ticket brokers. You know, only one state, actually two states. It was New Jersey and Connecticut where you can buy a ticket and resell legally and put a whopper of a fee on there to make some money. In New York, they call it ticket scalping, which is really a nasty word. Scalping. And you're not cutting something off, you're adding something to it. If you could call it ticket humping, you know what I mean? Or ticket ticket heaping. That's scalping. You know what scalping is? You're removing something, cutting it off with not a nice attitude either. So, you know, at one time, I like to move tickets along. It was easy money. You stand on line, you pull a bunch of tickets, you jump in line again, you pull a bunch of tickets, you jump in line again, you pull a bunch of tickets. And by the time you're leaving, you're doing all right, man. You know what I mean? And those were the days. Prince, Madonna. Yes, olden days. Olden days. And Bruce Springsteen. We had to go into Pennsylvania. Bruce Springsteen, I think it was JFK Stadium that he was doing this thing. We actually went to a Ticketron and, you know, kind of paid the guy off to pull tickets there all day. It was in a music store in Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere. Wilkesboro. I think they got coal mine fires and all that going on there. And then it's like, so I mean, that's anyway. I'm not gonna tell you how to acquire tickets. I'm just gonna tell you that people do, and then they sell them for a large fee. Back in the day, you could get $1,000 for front row center if you had a good show, you know, and or more, right? So then they say, no, 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 ticket scalping should be illegal. Billy Joel was out there, Bruce Springsteen was out there. Of fans should only pay. It was 20, $25, $30, whatever it was, $50 to get through the door. And it's not right. The scalpers do this, whatever, man. If you want to stand on line at the place in all kinds of weather for a couple of days, go right ahead. You can. People do. Scalpers have no advantage really when it comes to that, unless you jump in line or something. But those are more the rules of the place. I mean, some places will let you go from window to window to buy tickets, man. But this is a million years ago. Then today I'm reading this. Bruce Springsteen fans experience sticker shock over 2023 U.S. store ticket costs. So what's happening now? You see, the price of some floor seats rose to more than $4,000 due to the Ticketmaster dynamic pricing system. So Ticketmaster has come in, and I mean they were there from the beginning who were also chanting the whole people shouldn't have to pay and whatever. Ticketmaster comes in, they make themselves the scalper, right? If you want these great seats. I think Billy Joel, last I heard of him, he was still trying to fight against it. He's an old player. I mean, maybe he's not really, 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 really important like Roger Waters has just said he was the other day. Really, really, really important. Roger Waters putting himself more important than The Weeknd and Drake. But Roger Waters fans are not Drake fans or not Weeknd fans. Drake and Weeknd, their fans are something completely different. Much more numerous, more money, higher ticket prices. People don't know who the hell Roger Waters is unless they heard their Pink Floyd, and then they got kicked out of the band. Although he says he left, they split up. And I don't like that guy. He's crazy, man. I listen to Roger Waters on a Howard Stern show, man. I don't know. It was a clip from Howard Stern. He had Roger Waters on, so I'm listening just to this, I think, 20-minute conversation. Roger Waters talking about the motivation for his writing his music. And he takes himself very, 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 very seriously. I love people like that because you could like make them really mad. The more serious they take themselves, the more you can push those buttons and make them mad if you want to. And with a dude like that, it's worthwhile. So he's talking about his father dying in World War II, and that when he got the news, he was 2 years old, and he blamed himself for his father's death at 2 years old. And I'm listening to this, I'm like, what toddler is walking around even conscious or aware of what the hell is happening when my father died in the war and it's my fault? Jesus Christ, man. This dude needs a team of psychiatrists following him around. And then he's there. So I guess he was in Toronto, right? Good old Toronto. And he had his show planned. I found this out around. They didn't report this in the story, so I had to dig, man. I dug into that Canadian bacon up there. They had Roger Waters his planned for one arena, and they realized that I guess his ticket sales were kind of lagging, even though he says that because of the demand they did 2 nights, but really it was 2 nights planned all along, and then they moved him to another arena for 1 week later, which is the kiss of death in the world of ticket sales. Moving a concert a whole week. Talk about screwing people up. But not Roger Waters fans, because most of them are retired. You know what I mean? All right, wait, we got that covered. That's right. So anyway, Roger Waters, I'm playing with my toy. Roger Waters goes out there. So then he got really mad since they didn't they did a story on and so Drake wasn't even playing, right? He's going after Drake because I guess he's from there. He wasn't even playing. It was that guy The Weeknd that was playing, and I don't know, they reported on him, but not Roger Waters, or did the story on Roger Waters wasn't thick enough for him, I guess. He went after that and said that he's really, really, really important, and Drake and The Weeknd are not important. He's just, you know what he is? He's a cranky, rich, old white man. That's really all the crap that Roger Waters says about all the poor people in the world and all the things that you're supposed to believe in and all these things you're supposed to be doing in your social science and social life and whatever. He's old rich white man with a yacht and mansions and all that stuff. He's not living that life of hey, I need help. He's just singing the song. So he thinks that his songs are curing and healing the world. And they never have before. Good to get high to. He listens to Pink Floyd, but that curing the world, the world is messed up. Maybe the world's messed up because of his songs. Did you ever think of that, Mr. Really, really, really important? So the base price of these Springsteen tickets were $60. But Ticketmaster say you pay. Ha ha ha. That's it. You want to see the show? Big fat mafia guy. You want to see the show? You gotta pay. You think you see Springsteen for free? Cheap bastard. You like him and everything, you'll pay. Come on. Yeah. So a lot of rock bands are charging those kinds of prices and are able to do dynamic pricing, they call it. I love that, dynamic pricing. But I kind of wish he put a cap on it or said, I'm not comfortable with doing that. That's Bruce Springsteen. He's talking about the dynamic pricing has gotten a little out of control and how demand is going. Like some shows for comedians and whatever, they actually have these packages where you could pay, another $150 or whatever it is and get a picture taken with them and that type of thing. I don't know. I mean, I guess if that's what your deal is, that's what your deal is. So I just don't see I see what the money angle of it is, but when these people come out like a Bruce Springsteen making all these political statements on how you're supposed to live your life, you have some millionaire telling you how to live your life, really, or suggesting. I think that they're full of shit. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I'll charge tickets for that. Full of shit in the USA. Full of shit in the USA. Boo. Boo. Where's my ivory back scratcher? As long as these guys have to buy anything. They already got the big mansions, the planes, and what is going to put gas in their plane? Some jet fuel. All the guitars are given for free. Music, they're all sponsored, so they got that going on. Dynamic pricing. Sounds like ticket scalping. You call us scalpers. You know what? Tell people what it is, man. Ticket scalping. The Springsteen tickets prices are in accordance with industry norms for similar acts. Paul McCartney, recent Got Back, and Harry Styles tour used dynamic pricing. Paul McCartney, the very face of whinging on, the very face of we gotta do it. We've got to do it for the poor people. We got to help them out. Oh yes, 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 for the poor. Oh, what about Paul? How much have you given the poor? Well, I don't nothing. I've given nothing to the poor. I like to keep it all myself and count it at night and roll around in it like a pig. Yeah, man. Roll around your money like a pig. All these people. So whenever you see them in the news, whenever you see them out there talking crappy, think about them on their yacht who is making this statement. Let me Twitter this. Let me put this out there and make my goddamn statement, because it doesn't matter what these guys eat the best food, the best stuff, they got the best places, whatever. They're living the best life. And they're telling you how to live. There's something really messed up about that. Dynamic pricing. So maybe all people should just boycott it and not go see his old bones on stage. As simple as that. The Springsteen ticket prices at this point, let's see. The line ticket price for the show, $68 for $150 for a typical arena show. At $150, you're getting a front row ticket. Even that's freaking expensive, man. You know what I mean? They make their money. It doesn't cost that much to rent out those arenas, So really, between the promoter, the record company, and all that, they're just dicing things up for themselves. Rightfully so, like in sports, if people want to do it. You want to go watch some back and forth, some tennis. That would be torture. You know what? To me, that's like torture. Make me watch this, watch some golf. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I like that Paige Spearnack, whatever her name is. Not her golfing. I just like her bikini photos. That's how I know my golfers now is bikini. That's how I don't know who these the dudes. I only know the girls who play with the bikini. And then you know what? People still talking about this grimy Grimes, and we talked about it last week. Now you have LeBron James, who thinks, I don't know, nothing worse than someone who thinks they know something and then they don't, because his perspective is from an exclusive point of view. He lives in mansions, he flies in private planes. He's never really been in the real world, if you think about it, because basically it went from boom to these big sports making big money. So when he talks about regular old people living, I don't think he knows that. So now he's got this show that focuses on a barbershop, like with black guys hanging out, talking about all this deep stuff and politics. Let me tell you, man. One, me personally, I consider that racist. Because that's not really the pinnacle of he's not the guy who hangs out in barbershops. Number one, he's got his personal barber, right? all that going on. But when people reference black people hanging out in barbershops, it's more of a racial thing, when a statement when they're talking. I don't like to hear it because I know the reality behind it. And like any barber shop, to say a black barber shop has more going on politically and whatever, I also find is racist. But I'll say any barber shop with a bunch of guys hanging around, they're going to talk about the same stuff, no matter what color they are. They're going to talk about sports, dirty jokes, things like that. I've been at my barber shop, and the guy who runs it's an old ex-marine, and the dude next to him was in the army. These old timers, man. They're not gonna to hold their tongue. Sometimes a guy will like bring his girlfriend in, which is really against the rules of the barber shop, and but these guys don't hold back, and he sees girls get all upset and leave, and that's pay dirt right there. So to have a show around that barber shop, it really shows that the guy's mentality. You know, I'm sure that nobody says no to him, the producers, because it's his show and it's all his thing. You know, it comes down to this. You know, you have to understand where things come from to defend them. If you're going to defend a person who smuggled drugs into Russia, you're not doing her any favors. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing the world any favors. You're not showing the world that you're a genius. The only thing you're doing is kind of putting fire or fuel on the fire that's already there. LeBron James faulted the American government, faulted Americans for not backing her. She has plenty of backing. She has a dialogue because of privilege, by the way. If that was me or Joe Montaldo sitting there in Russia with some hash oil, we'd be doing the 10 years or more because we have big mouths. We'd be getting beaten up, and we wouldn't be in some nice facility either. So she's already getting the privilege and treated with privilege. This is the same woman who denounced the U.S., didn't want to sing the national anthem, told her teammates not to stand for the national anthem, not to cover their hearts, take the knee, and do a little other stuff. This is the result of that, to me. That's a backdoor justice. Here she is now crying the United States, I want to come home, and I love my country so much. Now she's singing the national anthem. Before she wasn't. Now she's, and I could care less to sing the national anthem. But if you're on the U.S. Olympic team, it behooves you to represent the country that you're representing. That's it. It's that simple. And for LeBron James, not everybody in American government can has a magic wand, can just dial up another country and say, release her now. You have to listen to me because we're United States. Arrogant and stupid is that kind of mental framing, right? So, and she smuggled drugs in. And you mean to tell me that she couldn't get some connection when she landed there? Come on, man. It's Russia. You think there's no drugs there? Of course there's drugs there. The main charge is smuggling, bringing it in. And she must have had a decent amount of this hash oil, which also shows she's on drugs, which also shows that she's got that going on. I didn't think you were even allowed to play sports and do stuff like that, but whatever, man. It's none of my business. I could care less about that type of stuff. But what I am saying is that was, I think, that whole arrogance that her generation has, that there's a lot of people out there that feel that they can do whatever they want to do. They don't care what the laws and rules are. But then you deal with a country like Russia that does care what the laws and rules are, and they're happy to put the screws to an American, especially now since there's all this posturing going on. So that's that for that. I think that she's still fighting, and I hope she can beat it. Hope she can get out of there in one piece. It's a terrible situation, and she's very, very well known, and the situation now is very well known. And Russia even kind of fired back about about being so arrogant and thinking that they're going to release. They want to do for some arms dealer who's a terrorist who's killed a lot of people. We have him in jail. They want to trade for that. It's not worth it. She's not worth it. The guy's where he's a killer. He's gonna go out and kill some more people. So she could be free for something that she did. It wasn't like they trumped up the charges. No pun intended. So LeBron James back again with the Celtics. This is what the guy does, right? I don't know why I'm talking about him, but I'm going to say this. Celtics fired back after LeBron James's T-shirt accusations, right? So he's sitting around all this time thinking about what he could think about, right? So the Celtics don't agree with LeBron James's recent comments in which the Lakers star said he believes the team something to do with selling a shirt that said, FLBJ. All right. Are you following me so far? A spokesperson, I'm not either. Don't. A spokesperson for the Celtics told the Boston Globe in a statement that the team does not sell apparel at its team store that disparages James and a player. All right. James made waves when he took aim at Boston fans, whom he called racist as FUCK. In the latest episode of his crap show, Uninterrupted's The Shop, right? So, of course, his publicists are out there hammering away, trying to get this show off the ground. This has to be like he's actually saying something. He has nothing important to say. So he's caught calling Boston fans racist. Now, if I think of Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs to be exact, which is a Native American reference. They have a Native American as their logo, and the fans in the stand do the chop, the tomahawk, and they chop. Now, if you want to talk about racism, we could talk about that for a long time, and they don't change the name. This guy is just mad because he thinks that they were selling a shirt that referenced him, telling him to to f off, basically, which I'm sure a lot of people do. And another guy takes himself way too seriously, right? And you can make them mad because of that. So, all right. And the four-time NBA champion became part owner of the Red Sox last year. So it sounds like he's doing pretty well for a guy who's constantly crying about stuff. Let's see. He said there was like a FLBJ T-shirt. James said, I believe they probably sold it at the effing team shop. They sold it at the team shop. I'm like, all right. I'm like,
the Celtics had something to do with that shit.
all right. I gotta read this again.
There was like a fuck LBJ t-shirt. I believe they sold that fucking at the team shop. They sold that shit at the team shop. The Celtics had something to do with that shit.
So this guy's like, this is what he's focused on, laser focused on his show. I know they did. During the episode, James was asked by his business partner, Maverick Carter, which opposing teams' fans have the biggest impact on the game, and without hesitation, James chose Boston. Wow, there you go. Because this is the reason why you're right.
Because they racist as fuck. That's why.
The Lakers star said, smiling. Here we go. And he said,
they will say anything, and it's fine. I mean, Look, it's my life. I've been dealing with my whole life. I don't mind it. Like, I hear it. Like, if I hear somebody close by, I'll check them real quick. I'll move on to the game. They're going to say whatever they effing want to say. They might throw something on you, even some Gatorade or some kind of other drink, or throw some food at you like a Twinkie. I mean, I got beer thrown on me leaving the game like it's Boston.
So this guy's got dreams of Boston. They like to throw stuff. Hey man, Hasidic Jews like to throw fruits and vegetables, rotten eggs. They have to get those eggs rotten to bring them to throw them. That's why I like protests that have Hasidic Jews. They throw things like monkeys, man. You know what I mean? Like monkeys throw their feces. Hasidic Jews will always have something rotten tomato on them. I mean, you think about where they get the stuff from. There's no Rotten Tomato store. Well, maybe there is. Bodegas. That's right. All right. You got me on that one. So this guy is just angry in general. I think he's going after the Celtics fans, and then going after their shirts. Oh my God! And and he's just trying to draw. There's other stuff to talk about that he can be talked about on the show while he's getting his haircut. I think laying down all kinds of serious politics at the barbershop. I've heard that, and I've been there lots and lots of times. East New York, Far Rockaway, man. Used to hang out with my friends, and hey, man, gotta go here get a haircut. Want to come with me? You know what happens in those places? Nothing. Like I said, people tell dirty jokes and talk about sports. Basically, did you see the game last night? And people have their little comments. I never have a comment. I don't watch sports. They ask me, I saw the game. I look at you blankly. Game? Did I see the game last night? No. I watched that Harry Potter marathon. You don't want to tell people. Tell them that you watched Harry Potter, the Harry Potter marathon compared to watching the big game. So anyway, yeah. Sometimes I have to watch a big game just to freaking talk about it. People, So LeBron, good old LeBron. I think that his talent is basketball. You know what I'm saying? And the reality of his talent is basketball. So when it comes to speaking his mind, I think you got to have one. You got to have one to speak it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I don't know. Or just read like poetry or something. Whatever you got to do. Just don't comment on things you don't know anything about. Or go ahead and have, douchebags like me talk about it. That's it. So anyway, I want to talk about how a dick pic helped detectives crack a $30 million celebrity diamond heist. So people take all these photos of themselves and they do all kinds of weird stuff. And then you got Hunter Biden walking around like documenting every bit of crime that he does, right? And then publishing it. So Scotland Yard busted the gang behind the biggest home invasion robbery in English legal history after one of the thieves couldn't resist sending a dick pic to a member of staff at a budget hotel. Get that. The saga began with a luxury lifestyle Instagram post just before Christmas 2019. Tamara Eskistone, the model heiress daughter of ex-Formula One boss Bernie Ecclestone, announced that she and her family were jetting off to Lapland. Lapland, is that really a place? It's like a topless bar. Lapland, with a picture of her daughter, Sophia, in the front of the private jet. On the night they left, a gang of thieves broke into the family's home located on the street referred to as Billionaires Row. And the group was able to swipe around $30 million in cash, watch, diamonds from the property. $30 million of cash, watches, and diamonds. That was despite the fact that a security guard actually caught 3 unmasked men, let's see, around 11 p.m. inside Ecclestone's dressing room, known as the Vault, after his 6-inch steel door had been left unlocked. You know, always got to do that when you have those thick, safe. That's what the safe is for. Cops from the Mets flying squad, the crack team, or the crack team that investigates London robberies, didn't have much going on at first. Security camera footage from the property's garden showed the trio hot-footing it past $12,000 replica of the main house used by Sophia as a playhouse. CCTV images then showed the group getting in one of London's famous black cabs. They traced it down to some crap apartment, budget hotel called TLK Apartments. Detectives see there's cameras everywhere. If you think you can get away with stuff, you can't, because they can just follow you from one camera to the next, Detective Constable Thomas Grimshaw. Detective Constable Thomas Grimshaw visited the hotel in January 2020, asking the receptionist if she remembered the group of young men staying there. Do you remember the group of young men staying here? And they might have come back with a lot of jewelry and stuff, bragging about $30 million worth of stuff. And then she said, oh, yes, one of them was a weirdo, and he sent me a picture of his penis. The hotel made a photocopy of his photo ID. When he checked in, they matched. I don't know, caught the guy, had to match the penis. Put him in a lineup. Well, which penis is it? Then people, let me see. Let me look. I don't know. Let me see. I think it's number 6, the penis. Are you sure, ma'am? Is that the right penis? It's number 6. Well, you pause. You want to look closer. You get you getting you close. It's important to be sure. Yes, that's the one. And they match the penis to the guy, and that's it. So I'm going to end the show on that note. Red Pill News. I'll see you guys next week on the show. Let's that Spider gets me, man. Bye.